Hi, Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. I am coming to you on Wednesday, October 8th, and it is 11:46 p.m. here in Wisconsin. How is everybody tonight? Let me get my devices synced up. PM. Whoop, there's the sound. I got sound there. That's good. That way I can watch to see if anybody joins me. I can try to keep up with any comments if anybody is chatting and crafting along with me. So let me just do a quick little welcome message. All right, Sarah, welcome. I was just typing up my little welcome message there. Daisies and Grace, Bonnie, it's been a little bit since you've been here. Welcome. I was going to try to get on here earlier, but I've been working on a number of cards today that some friends have wanted me to make for some special occasions. I had 2 wedding cards to make. Yeah, I didn't catch Juju's live, but I did catch a video she posted a little bit before she went live where she did her little paper pumpkin kit. It was pretty entertaining. And anyway, I was doing 2 wedding cards that people asked me to do that I have to deliver tomorrow. And one of them I'm still kind of waiting for some of the blended ink to dry on some specialty paper that I had for it. And I did a baby card as well and had to play with the chickens and, you know, putz around the house. So, what has everybody been up to today? Anything exciting? Well, that is certainly not exciting, Bonnie. How is your cousin doing? Probably not super well if you have to help with the care. And Sally, you have your little ones around getting Amanda ready for school. I got my thumbs up going, thumbs up, not thumbs down in case Amanda peeks in. Chemo next week. Yep, been there, done that. Yep, we had a whole long conversation on that one night about everybody's different experiences. Seems there's plenty of cancer to go around. That's a shame. All right, let's see if I can adjust this just a little bit more. I could probably, either way, you're going to get part of my camera stand. I guess that's not too bad. All right, so let's do just a couple of quickie announcements. Stampin' Up! Has a bunch of new products that were released. If you're a demonstrator, we are in a pre-order month. So check out all the new pre-order things that you have access to. And there are also recipes for the new online exclusives. So look for those. If you're a demo and you can't find them, if you're on my team, shoot me a message. I'll steer you in the right direction. And if you're on somebody else's team, certainly reach out to your team lead. So, new products, last chance products, stuff that's on sale. So Amanda had a peek at the screen. Did she notice the thumb? Yeah, the kids start school so early in the morning, you know. I think they have found that children do better when they can sleep a little longer. So I don't understand why they don't start school a little later. You ordered your Stampin' Up kit through Juju. Yay! All right. So I only had, let me take a look because I knew she had 3 people that joined through her, so that's pretty exciting. Let me get over there. Did your kit arrive yet? I think she got hers day before yesterday. Hello, Bonnie. Oh. Okay, so yeah, I see you on there. So I can see names. Oh, so yours just shipped. Exciting. So I just had something that shipped today and I should have it next week, Wednesday or Thursday, I think. So I'm looking forward to that, some of my pre-order stuff. So exciting times. It's fun stuff. So another announcement here. We'll take care of some of these quickly. Last chance products. So these are things that might be discount, might not be. You might see bundles on the last chance list. It doesn't mean the products are necessarily discontinued, but the bundle might be or going to be discontinued. So when we have stamps and dies or stamps and a punch, a lot of times they're bundled when they're new so that you get a 10% discount. When they go to the last chance list, it might just mean that that bundled price is going away. The products might still be available. So keep that in mind. We've got a kit sale. There were 3 new kits this month. All of the kits, the brown box kits, let me clarify that. So the brown box kits are on sale for 10 to 30% off. So it does not include paper pumpkin kits or subscriptions. Hey, Juju. It does not include scrapbooking kits, and it does not include a starter kit. However, if you get a starter kit that's got a kit that's on sale, you should get the sale price. So, Juju, I watched your paper pumpkin creation where you Jujufied it. I thought it was great. All right, and then Stampin' Up is doing these craft classes. I ordered mine, so I got my confirming email yesterday or today. I read it today. And saw that there's a private Facebook group for this class. So announcements will go on to there. And I understand that the whole suite, there's something in the suite that's out of stock, so you can't get the suite if you were looking at the suite, but you can get some of the individual products. I don't have the whole suite, and I'm just going to supplement with things that I have, and I will late night Laurify it. We're going to be doing 4 projects. There's going to be 3 cards and 1 home decor item. There's an additional supplies list, and that's all available information, or I can find it for you. And here's like the biggie. I did not clutch my pearls. And I even put a note on there that I was not clutching my pearls. I thought that was great. You pretty much followed the instructions, and you've seen me when I've done some of my kits. I change things up. So, it's your kit, it's your card. And I could just see you holding back, trying, not to junk journal it. So you did good, but I'm anxious to see how you incorporate that into some of your journals. So that'll be fun to watch. All right, so some of you already know what this is all about this month. So this is the best starter kit that I've seen, and many of my longtime demo friends have seen too. So the first option, probably everybody here took advantage of, is that everybody who's joined, is this $35 kit. So you get $125 worth of products that you pick yourself. You'll get a free paper pumpkin kit. You'll get some catalogs and some business supplies for free. Or you don't have to do a business, obviously. Some of you are just going to be kidnappers. Hopefully you'll stay around for a while for the discount and the fun. But share your catalogs with your friends and see, if they want to buy something from you, then it helps you with your numbers, and then you get your discount even longer. So you'll have a discount through the end of March, all right, by joining up this month. There's also another option if you're going to order a higher ticket item like a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because that would exceed the $125 limit here because you can't go over that. You did the 35 kit, Bonnie? $35 one? That's been the most popular one. But if you're getting a larger ticket item, this makes sense. Because you get $189 worth of product for just $99. Either way, it's still $90 of free product. So it's not like you're getting more free stuff this way. It's just if you want a bigger item here. But the nice thing about this $35 kit is that once you've just done this lower level kit, the next, I know, Sala, I wish you could join too. The next, hopefully that'll change. They're working on it. All right. So they're exploring some of these other countries and how they can make it work. So, yeah, Mama Juju's got her take your pick tool. I saw that she was working it today. But anyway, with this lower level kit, then when you go to put in your next orders, that counts for the minimum that you have to meet by the end of March. So you basically have those 6 months to do your orders. So it's a good way to do it. Plus you get your Stampin' rewards. You make your minimums and all of that. So it's really a good deal. You've had that tool, but you ordered the add-ons this time. Yeah, some of those are pretty. I have them. I think maybe you've been here when I've showed them, but I have them too. So I think that's all the little announcements. Does anybody have any questions about any of that stuff? I kind of, got squirreled while I was doing those. I try to make them quick, but it always seems like they take a few minutes. But it's just exciting, I wish I could join again because it's fun when you get all that stuff. And, I started as a kidnapper, I've mentioned it. I started as a kidnapper. I wanted the discount. I wanted to basically get more bang for my buck. And then, here I am 8.5 years later, still churning out my community fun. So it's just fun crafting with other people. And I really only started getting more intense, if you will, with the business aspect of it. I mean, I just kind of dabbled in having some friends over and stuff from time to time and taking random orders. But last year when I retired, I thought, no, I want to do a little bit more. So it's been fun. All right. So tonight I was actually going to do a little Halloween card. I saw Stampin' Up, one of the artisans or concept artists or something, had this plaster painting 3D embossing folder. And I think it's a really cool embossing folder. And here's how it's displayed here. So it's basically like spackled paint, right? Yes, you will have the discount for another 3 months after that. Yep. It's hard choosing what you wanted for the kit. I know it is. You start looking through like a catalog or the online stuff, and it's like, oh, I want that and that and that and that and that. I know my mother had actually been one of my best customers, and I said, Mom, you should just join. You'd get a much better deal. And her lists were just so long. Every time there was a new catalog or something, she kind of wanted it all. So sometimes it's hard to narrow it down. And then especially when you're doing just a small amount, Juju got a lot of variety in the things that she picked for her kit. I don't know what anybody else got, but she did her whole, what did you call it? Your well, not your stash, your haul of stuff. So, yeah, when you want to try to make complete projects, like a kit or a couple of kits, you can make whole things. But when you want to start from scratch and do something original, you need more of the things. So, you find maybe a suite or a bundle that you like, and then get a couple of the coordinating things, and you go from there and you just build on it. So anyway, I saw one of the concept artists or design people with this plaster painting 3D embossing folder, and I really liked this. But when you tip it this way, doesn't it kind of look like tombstones or ghosts? Can you see that? It looks like, at first I thought it would be like tombstones, like good for Halloween. But I saw that they had done it like ghosts. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll give that a whirl. So I was playing with it a little bit, and I embossed my piece. So let me just, it wasn't looking how I wanted it to look. So I set it aside, and I'll play with it another day. But I'll show you kind of where my thought process was going. Hi, Tanya. All right, so I pulled out some of these ephemera pieces. You have a lot of their paper. It is good paper. And the fact that it all coordinates is what I really like. Because I can get the DSP, and I know the Timid Tiger is going to go with that. And I know the Pool Party is going to go with that one. I know, you know, Granny Apple Green is all going to match. And I just like having it all delivered to my door. So anyway, so here's what I did with that little embossed piece from that embossing folder. In fact, I cut it right off of there. So what they had done is they outlined the ghosts, and I used the Secret Sea alcohol blends. And I think when I do it again, it does work good for 3D stuff because it's so sturdy. When I do this again, like for real, I will probably use a journaling pen, or like my basic black marker that's not going to be available anymore. I don't even know if the markers are still in stock because they're not going to sell them anymore. But that doesn't mean I'm going to get rid of the ones I have. But the marker might work a little bit better, or the journaling pen to do some of these outlines. That just seemed a little clunky to me. But they colored like the background on here and then just added the eyes. And I'm thinking like, these are too big, but like googly eyes on there would be fun. And I have some old eyes that were like the green and purple and orange eyes that I might try to find and just use some old stuff. But I thought maybe I could kind of put a panel here or put this like this and have the cardstock on here and do something, I don't know. But it just wasn't looking how I wanted it to look. So I put it away, and I thought, no, we're gonna make another card from the recipe for this 12 days of crafting advent calendar. And I guess they don't really call it a kit. It's more like a suite. So the journaling pen, it's a 3-pack. Oh, this I can probably put away too. Because the journaling pens are really nice, but they come as a 3-pack. All right, so this is the 2 Bonnies. Fun. All right, so this is the card that I did last night. So I already opened up the box, and the box is pretty in itself. So I'm thinking I'll cut this box down and put some of those elements on there. This matches some specialty paper that we have, and this kind of coordinates with the paper that's inside the kit. Yeah, this first card, I think it turned really good. It turned out really good. And, you know, I cased it pretty much right off the recipe. Here, you know, we get these recipes. So you gals that have joined, when you go into your Stampin' Up page, when you log in, if you go up to the, let me just go back there a second so I can see it. When you go to the menu drop down, and then go to Business Resources, and then go to the Print Lab, and then hit the visit button. When you scroll down to like the last section in the left column, you will see the products category. And then you'll see all the different recipes for all the different catalogs and releases. So that's where I got this from. It doesn't give us measurements for how they made the card. You have to kind of figure it out. Or if you're kind of stuck, I can usually figure them out pretty close. So here was the recipe from yesterday, and here's what we ended up making. We used those rub-on the metallic textures rub-ons. These are really cool. You get 8 sheets. There's 2 different designs. So you get them, yes. Okay, yep, Juju just answered. Oh, Sala, you just answered the question. Yep, I released it like an hour ago-ish. So anyway, these come in silver and they come in gold. So the designs between the 2 metallic colors are the same. And then you get 2 designs of each color for the 8 sheets. So those are pretty fun. I should probably leave those out in case we want to use them. But then the only other thing we did different was we put a layer banner under the designer series paper to make that just look a little more polished to me. So hopefully you can see that okay. So tonight I thought we would work on this one. Oh, and then I did my envelope too. Now I love the Stampin' Up envelopes. They come, what do they come, like 40 in a package? Yeah, they come 40 in a package, and they're the perfect size, obviously, for our cards. But I like to finish them either by stamping on them or adding some coordinating DSP, so you can see how I matched that. Because I just like them. I don't like naked envelopes. So I did not finish the inside, but what I'll do is I'll do another banner in the Secret Sea, and then I'll do a smaller banner in white instead of the floral DSP so that I can put a sentiment on that. All right, so that's yesterday's card. I don't know, did we do any other cards? I don't even remember. Oh, I did. We did this one from the Handmade and Heartfelt kit. Just finished that off a little bit. So that's kind of like a little more plain card. I think this was the star when we did this one. I think this one was the best out of all the ones we collaborated on. All right. So for this one, let me get this out of the way. All right. We have, so yeah, you buy yours from Hobby Lobby and then you decorate them. So when you join, you might want to consider whether the ones from Stampin' Up will actually be less expensive, and then you're buying from yourself. So you're supporting your own business, so to speak. But either way, you know, if you get them from someplace else, that just frees up other things that you can get from Stampin' Up. All right, so this says we need some old olive. So I got old olive, crushed curry, flirty flamingo, misty moonlight, and I pulled out a big piece just in case we want to do it on a different background than white, because the sample is, oh, you can't even see that. The sample is on white. And then it asks for basic white. So I'm gonna go ahead and score this at 4 1/4. And it actually looks like here they've created a box to put a bunch of these in. And it doesn't look like they use note cards. So it's a regular size. Oh, it is a note card. It is a note card. So let me go get some of those. It is a nice warm yellow. $4.99 for 24 of them. Let me take a look. So ours right now, they're $11 for 40. So that's $27.50 a piece. And if you're doing $4.99 divided by 24, yours would be 21 cents a piece. So 21. So what did I say? Of course, you're getting a discount too, so hang on a minute. So yeah, your Stampin' Up! Ones would be 22 cents an envelope. So about 2 cents more than what you're getting. The other week they were 50% off. You can't hardly beat that, right? All right, so I'm gonna go grab some note cards because that's like a box that they made note cards for. So we've got these note cards and they are, you get 10, you get 20. So 20 note cards, 20 envelopes. Let's see where those are. I don't usually send out note cards. Let me put this number in because it didn't come up. All right, so these are $10. Well, get me back to my calculator. So that's like what, 50 cents a card and envelope, less your discount anyway. There's so much in your cart. I know I usually have a list. And if you ever, just so you know too, if you ever find something that you want that's currently out of stock, not orderable, if you click into it, you can be notified when it becomes available and they'll send you an email. Stampin' Up! Will send you an email when it's back in stock so you can go back and order it right away. You can also just put hearts on things to create lists for yourself. So that's kind of a nice feature too. And I am going to just going to grab a couple of note cards that are already loose. I decided I didn't want to open this package of note cards since I already have some open. So here's a couple of the envelopes we have handy, and then here's a couple of the note cards. So they're already cut to the size you want. They're already scored to what you need. So all you have to do is burnish those. So we have 2 ready to go. And I'll put that white cardstock out of the way. And then let's see what we need. We need the stamp set. Oh, here's another piece of nope, the stamp set, it's not in there. So this must be designer series paper. Well, there's got to be a way to get this on here. Let's just see what I'm missing, because it says we've got embossing powder. So it says Healing Hugs on there, and I don't want to do that. I'll probably do Just Thinking of You. Always in my heart. Here's Thinking of You. So Sally, you must buy your cards cut and stored, and they come with envelopes in the package. I did. I opened the whole calendar. I love surprises, but I love not waiting for them too. Yeah, I opened every single flap. So that was a few nights ago. So if you're interested, go ahead and take a look. And if you're not interested and you want to save the surprise for yourself, if you're going to buy the kit or the suite, you go for it. Now, I don't remember there being rainbows on here. Oh, I know. I bet those, were those ephemera? So it's definitely not there. I think what I'm going to end up doing is just taking all of these things right out of this kit, this box. All right, so those are cute. Baker's twine. All right, so I think we need this. And it looks like we need probably this one. Because this one seems a little small. Oh, let me get a note card. Where'd my note cards go? All right, so those, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It might be this little one. All right, so let's put these back in here. I made the envelopes, but handmade envelopes make shipping higher. Oh, that's good to know. All right, so let's see what else we have in here, because I don't remember seeing those rainbows. So it's not in there. I'm pretty certain. Labels. Glue. Okay, what am I missing? I don't think it's this. Oh, for goodness sakes. I'm just looking at my list to see what else I'm supposed to have. It just says the 12 Days of Crafting Advent Calendar. Paper, ink, tools, embellishments. I gotta be missing something. So these masks do not have rainbows. Aha! Here we go. There's a die with the rainbow on it. I knew I had remembered seeing a rainbow somewhere. It's making myself a little crazy there. These would be good, I think, to put on one of my magnet sheets so that I can see them all. So I guess I don't need this one, although I did pick out the right size one. All right. So I'll put that back. So I guess we just need this, the white embossing. But then what did they use to make this multicolored one? Because I don't see markers on here either. Oh, I bet when we cut out some of those things, I get it. I'm on it now. I get it. All right, we'll put this little box away. I'm just a little slow on the draw tonight, I guess. All right, so I'm gonna get my little Betsy here. And let's see where we want to keep these things. I'm gonna put this up here so we can see that. And then we are going to use our little rainbow die, and we're gonna do the Misty Moonlight one. So who needs what kind of cardstock? 12 by 12. If shipping wasn't so high, I'd send you some. Who's looking for... Sal, are you looking for different card bases? All right, so here's our little rainbow, and that's going to go on white like this. And then these little pieces we're going to use to create that one. So I will need that white die after all. Although, no, I have another plan. I have another plan. We're going to do some little paper piecing. It's not a spending problem, ladies. Consider it therapy. It is therapy. Because I tell you, my craft space is my happy place. And my husband knows it. Okay, I don't know who Bonnie was. Oops, did I just cut that crooked? I'm going to have to cut that over because it shifted. Because I was not paying attention. All right, well, I can still keep this little set of pieces. Yeah, I don't know what they cost, what they charge for therapy, but I'm sure it's not cheap. And then where did my die go? Got a Klingon here. There we go. So there's that one, but I have to cut it over because it went crooked. I'll try to pay attention this time. Oh, here. Try to keep it on the paper this time. So now we have some extra Flirty Flamingo ones. And we have that. And then we have the crushed curry. This color reminds me of mustard, and I don't eat mustard. Oh, I'm guessing that's probably more than $100 US an hour. My granddaughter loves doing that. She loves popping them out by throwing them down. All right, we're getting there. And then we still need our green one. Yeah, I don't cook with curry either, but you're right. Although I did have, when I worked for our government, I worked in the criminal court system. I was a manager there. I had a gal that I hired that was from India, and her lunch would always smell like curry. She was really nice. Yash Paul. Alrighty, we're getting there. And then I'm going to cut one of these out of white, the basic white. Now I have a John Denver song in my head, Sunshine. I think that was his song. All right. Let's get a little scrap of white. I too am a crocheter, although I haven't been doing much crocheting in the last several years. Somewhere in my brain I know how to knit as well, because my grandmother taught me how to do both. So I used to be able to knit and crochet. I think that might be all we need this for. She taught me how to knit and crochet, but I liked crochet so much better, I just never really did much with the knitting. But my brain somewhere knows how to do it. Somewhere in my brain. That one just doesn't want to pop out. There we go. All right. So, we've got all our little rainbow pieces. I think if I wasn't following the sample, I would have picked bright, more rainbow colors. More primary bright ones. All right, so let's see what we get to do next. So it looks like these squares are going to be up on dimensionals. If we want to do it exactly like that, it's going to be like this. And then we're going to do healing hugs. And we're going to do Misty Moonlight for that. Now it also told us to use Flirty Flamingo ink, but I don't see where. I don't see any Flirty Flamingo ink on there. I think, excuse me, I think even though I inked this just the other day, I think I still need more ink on it. And I might need to rinse it out. My ink pad has gotten a little like bubbly on here. Not bubbly, I mean, it looks like it's got a raised texture on there, but the ink isn't bubbling out of there. But it looks like it might need to be rinsed and just re-inked. I've never had to do that before, but some of the ink pads have needed, I've seen other people say they've needed to do that. All right. I'm just going to trim this down. I suppose I could put that where you can actually see me, right? And I always have to look at the bottom of my trimmer to make sure I'm not picking up anything that stuck to it. So here I'm going to use some tear and tape. And I'm going to put that, are the stamps inked around the edges in the sample? The Probably not, because this is not white core paper. The Stampin' Up cardstock is dyed through and through. Our two-sided cardstock is printed, so it has a white core. Oh, dyeing your paper with it, that's a good idea. Let me do this back over here. No, I want to do see, I'm not paying attention. I need to be careful here. So I'm just putting some tear and tape on here. I've wanted to try to make my own paper. I don't know how hard that would be to do. Just kind of struggling with this, thinking about the Flirty Flamingo and if it was used like that. But none of these would need it on the edge. And I don't see, there's nothing on here that says blending brushes, so I know they didn't do any ink blending. So I'm just not seeing, I mean, it could be a misprint too. I'm just going to trim a little bit of that off. So what I want here is, now this is sticky on the inside, so what I'm going to end up doing is who cutting out for anybody else. All right, so let's do, if we want to do the same color scheme they have, I'm going to put this in here. And then we've got the Flirty Flamingo one that I'm going to put in here. And then the Misty Moonlight will go in here. And then we've got the Old Olive that's going to go in there. Is that Xyron? And what is Xyron? I lead a sheltered life. And then I'm just going to burnish those into there. Oh, it's a sticker machine? But would that work with what I was doing here to do paper piecing? Where I was filling the void? And I just wanted those to stay in there, so I put the two-sided tape on there. And then these, I'm going to cut another layer because it looks like this is a tone on tone. So if this is 3.5, by 5, we're going to do 3.25 by 4 3/4. Three and a quarter by 4 3/4. I think that's what I said. Yep, that's a nice layer there. All right. So this will go on here. And they might actually have it trimmed a little shorter. So let's take another, probably take a 1/2 inch off of there. If you have big sheets of double-sided tape, you could put that on the back before die cutting. Yeah, I used some of the adhesive sheets recently, just I think the other night. So here's how, I don't know if you can see this. I don't want to lose all those pieces. But in here, it shows the card base, and then it shows this white layer. So it's still kind of white on the edges, but then there's more of a border there. But I think I still want to trim a little bit more off the sides. Yeah, my sister-in-law has some kind of dispenser that she does some taping on. But, all right, so that'll go there. This one is going to come here. The green one, the Flirty Flamingo, the crushed curry. I almost called it Cajun Craze. This will come here. And I'm going to trim that down shorter because the sample is trimmed shorter. It's good to have lots of things because then when you're on a roll, you don't have to stop to go buy more things. And I'm going to put my die over here on my magnet so that I don't lose it. All right. Oh, I guess I could keep this over here so we can still see. Oh, I understand that. So this will go like this. So it looks like we're just going to glue these down. And this would have worked with the adhesive sheets. But I think it's also, for me, it works fine with just the glue as well. I probably should have put some glue on those rainbow arches too, which I didn't do. So I'm going to do that on these. So the adhesive sheets would have been a good idea for this. So if you get this kit and you do this project, put these little stamp pieces on your adhesive sheets. It'll look nicer. Yeah, there are things that I know I have, and when I want them, I can't necessarily put my hands on them, and then I'll find them randomly later when I don't need them anymore because I did something else to do a makeshift. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's happened to. I have been standing for so many hours. I'm trying to think when I last sat down. My feet are just a little tired. I just noticed. All right, so let's see if I can just put a little bit of glue on the back of here without bending them too much. Learn from my mistakes. Adhesive sheets or sticker sheets would be good for this. I do stand while I craft. I did pull over a stool earlier though because I did have a couple of webinars that I had to be involved with, and for one of them I did sit for a little bit, but that was this afternoon. So I'm going to put that up on dimensionals. But yes, I stand while I craft. So my craft table comes up to about my waist. Like not almost the top of my hip bones. Oh, so you put glue on your thumb. Huh, that's an interesting technique. I never thought of that. It would probably mess me up a little bit though, because when I do my tear and tape, I'd have to put my glue over here. I would probably make a big mess of it, just because sometimes I'm just not very coordinated. Now this looks like it's on with twine, but we also need a little hole in there if we're going to put the baker's twine. Let me find some white. If we're going to put baker's twine in there, I'm going to need a little hole in there. And then I need to get some ribbon. So we'll do, this is Secret Sea. It's close enough to the Misty Moonlight that I think it'll be fine. Oh, that's just to go around the whole box. That's not even on the card. So that's around the box. So let's do, I'm going to glue this down. And then we're going to make a box space so that we can put all these note cards in there, I guess. So this looks like it's not even on the card, it's on the ribbon for the box. Good to know. And I'm going to, I could take my Take Your Pick tool and punch it on a Pearson mat, or I could cheat and use one of my old hole punches, which is what I did. And then we're gonna put my little needle threader in here. Put that twine right through there and pull it through so that it doesn't separate. So this I'll be able to I'm going to make a white rainbow front and the back of here because it's two-sided. And if it's on a box, I'm not going to want them to see the back side. So let me get those dies out again. I gotta find them. There we go. I'm gonna have to do a little cheat sheet so I know what is in each of the little boxes. Well, that's not even going to be the same one. It's shaped different. All right, plan B. It's going to go back to this. I'm going to go on white, but I'm going to get some adhesive sheet. Since we're talking adhesive sheets, I'm just going to cut a little strip on here. Oh, so you're saying down here? See, I was thinking here, because to me that's where my thumb would start. But if you're going by your wrist, if I wear long sleeves, I'd have a mess. All right, let's see, I need about 1.5 inches. And I'm just going to do 1.5 inch square. And I'll save the rest. Then we'll do 1.5 inch square here. Checking to make sure I don't have any tag-alongs. And then, of course, I cut this so small that there's not a split for the backing. Thanks for stopping in, Bonnie. All right, I will get this separated. There we go. All right, so this is the backing piece, so I'm going to put the glued piece right on there. And then we'll get the little die machine out again. And we'll cut one more of these. Oops, there we go. All right, my little Betsy. So now with the adhesive stuff on there, it's probably not going to pop right out of my die. All right. Now, I'll take that out because I'm going to have to punch a new hole in here. So let's take these pieces out because I think I'm going to use the colored pieces again because I think that'll be cute. It's coming. There we go. So I've got my little sticker. That works good. And now we're just going to do a different series of... Oh, you sent me an illustration. Good. All right, I will look at that when I'm done. Thank you. All right, let's see. I tried to hang some pictures up above my crafting table here, and they just will not stay up. And now I lost one of my little rainbow strips, so we're going with a different color. All right, so I had green, so I did pink. I'll do crushed curry. And then we'll do the blue, Misty Moonlight. And then, what do we have left? The green. The old olive. All right. There. So it's a little different on each side because of the colors. That works fine. let's just line up that first hole and we'll punch it through again. And get my little needle threader. We'll put this piece of baker's twine back in here. Now we're ready to go there. I suppose I could keep, I don't know if I need to keep these. It's probably just going to be easier for me to recut them. I mean, I'm going to have them cut the next time I use that die anyway, right? All right. So this will go on our box. Here's our first little note card. It's really cute. So maybe I should take the Flirty Flamingo and brush up the sides. I don't have a fancy brush like Juju has, but I could use a sponge dauber. It is cute. Let me get a little piece of scrap paper here. I don't know if that's going to make it look better or worse, but it'll be different. I think I liked it better plain, but I should have just done my blending brush ahead of time. I got a little wild with my sponge dauber there around some of these edges. So I don't know where they put their Flirty Flamingo because I sure didn't see it on the sample here. Yeah, I got a little crazy. Yeah, I don't have a fan brush though. I saw that you had. I thought that's what you used to put your gold on, was your fan brush. Did you use a fan brush for the edges too? I don't know. You think it looks all right? I could put on the back too. I got a little overzealous on the top, I think. I don't know, that looks kind of cloudy with the little rainbow things. I think it's kind of cute. All right, at least we used the Flirty Flamingo. All right, and then oh yeah, that would have worked, huh? All right, so let's get rid of that. And then let's go ahead and make a box. Because this shows a box with this ribbon around the outside. All right, so if we've got 3.5 by 5, if I've got 3.5 by 5, and they'll probably go up about 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. So that means I need to do plus 1.5 inches, plus 1.5 inches, because 3/4 I need 2 sides and top and bottom, right? So that would be 3, 4, 5 by 6.5. Does that sound right? We'll see. We will see. So let's say if I go 3/4 and 3/4, we'll just test this on my grid paper. Let me, doesn't want to focus here. There we go. So if we go 3/4 on the side, 3/4 here, so that's 6.5. Yep, 5 by 6.5. Perfect. All right. All right, I'm looking here, Bonnie. Well, I just took a small sip. I don't think that'll hurt, will it? Oh, I missed some of these messages there. All right, so 6.5 by 5. So 6.5 by 5. And then I'm going to score it 3/4 of an inch all the way around. So I use, when it's small amounts like that, if it's under 1.5 inches, I usually use to the right of my track. So I'm going to go to 3/4 of an inch, score 3/4 of an inch, and score 3/4 of an inch, and score, and then the last one. All right. Now this doesn't look like it's got a cover on it, but I have some window sheets. I could certainly make a cover that slides inside too, so we'll see. All right. So then to do my box, we're just going to snip, and I'm going just barely inside. I'm going on the inside edge of that score line. And then I'm just going to cut the score line off here. So it's just ever so slightly mitered. So we'll put those in there, and those in there. So let's do a little bit of glue here. Now I could use tear and tape. A lot of people use their tear and tape for, 3Ds like this, 3D items. But I really prefer my liquid glue because for me it just seems to hold better. I'm just trying to do a nice thin scribble line. I don't need a lot of glue, but I want it spread over that whole surface basically. So it's just a really light layer. And that's why the tips of my bottle, or the tip of my bottle, gets gunky, because I use it to push the glue around. All right, so those can go like so. And I just want to make sure that I've got the edges lined up there. And again, the edges at the corners lined up so I don't have any overhang. All right, so I'm not the only one that uses the liquid glue then. Tear and tape just sometimes seems like, or you know, any kind of two-sided tape just seems like it separates. Now this I did with glue, and this has been just fine. And there's tension on that. You would think if it was going to pull apart, it would have, but the glue doesn't do that. All right. So here's the, where's my marker again? So for our envelope, or our box, we're going to do 5 inches by 6.5 inches. Oops, there we go, 6.5. And then scored 3/4 of an inch around. All right, so this was the size of the note card. So that's our note card. And then the sides, if anybody's interested in recreating that. So then you don't have to recreate the wheel. All right, here's an envelope. Let's see if it fits. Oh, it doesn't fit. You know why? Because I didn't do it with my envelope. I measured for my card. My card fits good. So I guess we'll do another one, another box. But we'll add. So let's go ahead and wipe this off because we're going to do this over. So disregard this. See, that's why I say learn from my mistakes. So we're going to do, get my marker again. What's here? A glue press. Yeah, I know a couple of people that use them, especially people that have like arthritis, because it's easier to hold. So we're going to go, we got 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. And if I'm going to add 3/4 times 2, I'm going to add 1.5 inches again, because I've got 2 sides. So plus 1.5 inches, so that's basically 2/4, and 1.5 inches here. So that's going to be 6 3/4, and this will be 5 1/4. So basically your width becomes what the length was, because those are the same. And then 6 3/4. So this is for the box. Let's try this again. And let's get, I gotta get another piece of white. It's all good. It's only paper, and I can use this box for something else, right? I'll probably just open up the sides and use that. All right, so let's try this again. 5 1/4. Oops, I need the cutter. So then I can do this at 5 1/2. And then I'll have a card base ready to go, right? And then I need 6 3/4. So I hope you did the screenshot of the repaired one. 6 3/4. And then we'll score it at 3/4 of an inch all the way around. And hopefully it'll work this time. Yeah, I could for my bits and pieces, but I have a little hard box for my bits and pieces. I could give that to my granddaughter for her bits and pieces, I suppose. She might like that too. All right, so let's try this again. Let's see if this works. Yes, that will work. The envelope should fit on there. Let's try this again. And I'm just going to go ahead and make these cuts on like a single pass. So I'm going on the very edge of the score line for the back piece, and then the flap, I'm just doing enough of a miter to cut off that score line. Of course you would, Juju. That would be perfect for that. All right, so let's try this again. Groundhog Day, right? Speaking of which, we have a groundhog that is hanging out in our yard. It's a second one. The first one I named Dexter. He started burrowing along our foundation of our house. So, Dexter Metis Maker. And then now we have DJ, Dexter Jr. I don't know if Dexter was a female and had a baby, or if this was just a cousin or somebody who decided they were going to freeload in our yard. So I have a groundhog hanging out. He likes to live under my she shed, which is like up on a metal base that's like hollow underneath. But then he likes to go over into our like wood pile area during the day. So yesterday and today he had the gall to walk, scurry right past me while I was out with all my chickens on his way to bedtime. And I guess as long as he's not burrowing next to my house, I really don't care a whole lot. But I've never seen a groundhog that close before. I wonder if he'll be good at predicting spring. All right, so there's our little box now. Isn't that just bold? You're not kidding. All right, so let's try this again. There we go, perfect. So then, if we do our ribbon, and I'm just gonna cut this, I got plenty of ribbon, so I'm just gonna cut that kind of long. Oh, yeah. He was going right at the base of our foundation. And that is not a good thing, because when they make a hole, it's a pretty good size hole. And then in the winter, if, you know, the water and ice and everything gets in there and then screws up your foundation, you got a mess. All right. I'm gonna, oh, I wanted to make that an X again. I'm gonna go get a window sheet and see if we can make a little cover for this. And we are going to use these same measurements, but we're going to make them just a smidge smaller so that it'll fit with the same score lines inside the box, because I don't want it to go on the outside. I want it to snug up on the inside. All right, so here's, do I not have this package open? That's interesting. All right, well, we're going to open it now. They are big. The first one, I thought he would weigh more. When he met his maker, I weighed him. I was curious. I would have done an autopsy on him too, but I didn't see the point. I knew what his cause of death was. But he was only a little over 5 pounds. I thought he would have been more. All right. Little window sheet. And let's move some of these things out of the way. All right, so we are going to go five and a quarter and just a smidge smaller. And then we're going to go 6 3/4 and a smidge smaller. So let's see, did I do? Yeah, and when I make extra pieces like that, I usually throw them in like the die package. All right, so now I'm going to score this at 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to have to score that a little bit heavier, I think. I don't have to worry about ripping it, that's for sure. Now, when you ladies do a box top like this, do you just cut out your corners and have the 4 sides not attached, or do you create like a full frame and use glue? Because curious minds want to know. What say you? Full frame with glue? Okay. Anybody else? All right. Well, you're making the whole lid acetate. I never thought of that. I always make the box and put the acetate in the middle so you can see through it, but that's cool. Oh, okay. You've never done a window, huh? Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and snip just the one way. And you probably cannot see my score lines. And to tell you the truth, I can barely see them either. And we're going to go ahead, hopefully these will bend. This stuff is really strong material, I'll tell you that. Yeah, cardstock is definitely much more pleasant to work with. So let me get a bone folder. I had one out here. There it is. Yeah, Stampin' Up! Has also had some boxes like pre-made boxes that had like cutouts in the middle. But I figured if we just did a cutout, then you couldn't see the whole front of the card. So I'm just going to see if the glue works for me. But now I also have to burnish these flaps. I should probably have burnished everything before I did my snips. I did some candy boxes, like with nuggets, Hershey nuggets. And we did an acetate cover, but I don't think we tried to glue it. I'm thinking the instructions I had just had the pieces so that they were, so that the flap was cut out, basically. So we'll see. If the glue holds, I'll leave them in there. If the glue doesn't hold, I'm cutting them off and wiping off the glue residue, because I'm not sure how long it's going to take to dry. Because this basically is going to fit right inside here. All right, so that'll fit right in there. And then when we put our ribbon around the box, I should have cut that longer. I'll cut another piece longer. So let's just do this. And then this will go on here. So that would be tied tighter, of course. So we'd put a bunch of note cards in there, you know. You could fit a bunch in there. All right, so there's our remake. Not all put together, obviously. I wonder if I can get a little bow out of this. Maybe, maybe not. I'm gonna try. There. So basically, there we go. So I'd make a cute little knot on there. Have a little bow for our tag. And then we could have a bunch of cards in there. Probably like 5 of them. What do you think? Pretty cute? So let's take this apart, and I'm going to try to glue these corners and just see how it does. So I think I'll make a bunch of them. Maybe I'll make at least 4, and then I'll do the sponging on the edges in each of the 4 colors. So there's our version, and there's the Stampin' Up! Version. So let's just put some glue on here. I wonder if this would be a good test. I could put tear and tape on one side and glue on the other side. We'll have to see how long I'm standing here holding the glued pieces, right? Hot glue. But then you'll be able to see it too. Yeah, I don't know if this liquid glue is going to work for this. I'll be sitting here for a while it dries. I don't know if the wet glue is going to work for this. I'm thinking probably not. Yeah, I'm thinking the hot glue might melt it too. I do have clips. That would make sense, wouldn't it? So Bonnie, you've used hot glue, huh? And it doesn't like get too lumpy? See, I think this is why when I did those little candy boxes for the chocolate nuggets, we just cut those corners out. Yeah, I have a precision one too, Bonnie. So that could be there. All right. Well, I'm going to let this sit. I'll play with it some more tomorrow. I'll make some more cards. I'll wrap it up all pretty. And I'll post some pictures on my Facebook page. I still need to post this one, I think, on my Facebook page. I don't think I did that last night. Yeah, I figure if I'm putting it on the flaps and if it melts it, I'm just going to cut them off. But I'll try it with my hot glue gun. Maybe I'll go get that right now. And we'll test it. Because it doesn't take that long to heat up. As long as I turn the power on, that'll help. And I'm going to go get another glue stick too. I had this cute little jar that I put all my glue sticks in. I've had it for probably over 30 years. It was a little mushroom. Perfect for these. And it's been moved around and banged around. And sure, when I'm moving into the new studio space, when we did the addition, something just like tapped on the top of it. So the mushroom head broke. So now I just have the little jar. So the acetate already had the polka dots on it, or did you do something to put polka dots on it? Yeah, I was disappointed because that jar was really cute. So here's my little jar. It was perfect for my glue sticks. And here's the big one. So it's a little bit bigger, but I don't think I can find these anymore. So I used to work at Kmart years ago, and I got these when I worked at Kmart. At least I didn't just break it now when I put it away. That would be sad. Is that Sure Binder? Yes, it's a Sure Bonder. And I have the little pencil one too. So I have this one too. And they're both the precision tip. This one looks like it got a little glue gunked up on here. So yeah. Now I think I'll probably I haven't decided. I haven't used this but just once or twice, so I'm not sure how I'll end up doing it. But it's supposed to be like a pencil one. But it was pretty compact, so I thought, well, why not get them both? And then, okay, this is warmed up already. So this is my full-size one. So I can either have it just plugged into the base, or I can plug it into the handheld piece, or you can just do the handheld piece wireless because it'll stay hot for a hot minute. So let's just put a little bit on here and press. It is not melting the acetate, Sala. But again, like Bonnie said, you don't put a whole lot on. So it looks like hot glue would work, but I also am not real thrilled that the hot glue shows through. That's set really fast too. Yeah, this one heats really hot. And it is already pretty set. I have never tried hot glue on my acetate, so that's a really good tip. I suppose if you like held it on there, or put a big glob on there, maybe it would melt. And this is pretty thick. I don't know if it says. It does not say, it just gives us a size. So I can't tell you how heavy it is. But I can tell you the hot glue is working. And it's sealed. It's definitely on here. Well, I could glue a flower onto the corners, but then it might get hung up trying to get it into the box. So the wet glue is still not set. So the heat gun is definitely the way to go for this. Bonnie, thanks for that tip. And I'm gonna get, let's just use my Kleenex here for right now, my tissue. Oh, that didn't work. Outside of the box shouldn't affect that, but this is going inside of the box. Remember, I cut the acetate narrower so that it would go inside. So there's nothing on the outside except the cardstock. If we would have made the acetate just slightly larger, I could have done it on the outside. But we did it slightly smaller. And I think, again, in my head, I was thinking that the last box that I did for those candy things, we just cut these tabs off. So you just had the flaps and the corners were not secured. You just tucked it in there and it was secured by the base of the box, you know, the sides of the box. So let me see if I can get this glue washed off or not. not so much. So let's try some alcohol swabs. We'll just get this glue off of here, and then you're right, nobody's gonna look, Bonnie. And this would be cute too, with the stamp set, wherever I put that, to do like the butterfly and make the shrinky dinks out of it. So if we did that with shrinky dinks, those butterflies, and tied that onto the little rainbow thing, I think that would be cute. And we could certainly put some DSP on the outside of the box too to really glam it up a little bit more. All right, so this is going to be my messy prototype. But it's all good, at least we know the glue gun works. Yeah, this is still a little bit of a mess. I have another kit, the garland one. No, I have not. Yeah, that would make sense. I've got flat backs. I have a little silicone tray for foot ice cubes, but that would take a lot of hot glue to fill it. And I suppose this will be all right once I put the hot glue in there. It's gonna kind of cover up my mess from the liquid glue, I suppose. Oh well, this is just my prototype anyway. But now I got glue on the top of here. I just made a mess of this. That'll be fine. Now I get it, Sally, because I use the liquid glue for almost everything I do. Yeah, and I'm not even sure. I mean, this is the hot glue is working really well. But I think if I did this again, I would probably forego the glue and I would cut off the tabs and just let it sit inside. So I'm just gonna cut these tabs off so you can see that it does work pretty well. So you basically have just removed the corner pieces. And then that just lays in there really nice. So if you're tucking it inside the box, it works really good. And it's snug enough but let me think. Expand our horizon, think outside the box. No, we're good. All right, so the top of my box got really messy, but you probably can't see it from the camera anyway. It looks awesome, ladies. It looks absolutely awesome. All right, so there's our little box. Yeah, so Bonnie, if you do your lids so that they're on the outside and you cover them with something else, you wouldn't see the glue anyway. All right, so here's our loose ribbon version. There, I'll hold it like this so it's nice and snug. And here's the Stampin' Up! Version, so I think we did all right. And we even have a lid on ours, and they don't have a lid on theirs. You can see in the picture how the sides are kind of bending in maybe. Let's get rid of all those. So from the ribbon, the sides of the cardstock box are going in, but when we use the acetate, it didn't. So I think our box is better. All right, so that's my one project for today, ladies. That's all I'm doing. Ours is better, isn't it, Juju? But I think I'll work up some more of the cards. I'll do some of the sponging or ink blending with the other 3 colors. And I'll show you ladies tomorrow how it all turned out. So, I think that's it for me for tonight. This took a lot longer than I expected it to, but it was fun chatting with everybody. Oh, and Bonnie, I'm just seeing your picture now. So I'm looking at the glue that you've got. So do you use, like, I can't see where the glue is. So when you put that on your hand, there, I'm assuming there's glue under the paper. So the glue peels off, it dries before you even think about it. But you want it wet when you're using it on your project, right? You put the glue on your hand and you just put the paper over it. Rub it with your finger and then rub your thing over it. Oh, so you're almost making like glue dots, like tacky glue. So if you're letting the glue set like this, I have glue on here. So if I had the glue on there, it would kind of set, and then you rub it on, and then you put it on your project, right? Is that how it goes? Oh, cool. All right. I think I understand better now. All right, cool. Learn new things. That's why we're here, right? So that we can all learn from each other and share things. I think that's awesome. So I'm going to get rid of all my little rainbow bits here because I'll have more when I make the next rainbows. Get rid of my clips. Now you're taking the thing, rubbing it on the glue so the glue gets all over it. What you've got in your hand. So it sets on your hand. So you're taking the thing, rubbing it on the glue so the glue gets all over what you got in your hand. You and I might have to do a little Teams meeting or something so you can show me. So I've got the picture. I'll figure it out. So you let it set. Do not let it set. It's too early for thinking, or for me, it's too late for thinking. Because I have been up for a long time, and it's time for me to go to bed. So, thank you so much, ladies. It's been a hoot. And let me do a little close-in message here. So just like ointment on gloves. All right, we'll figure it out. Thank you, Sala, Bonnie, who's gone, Juju. I think that's everybody we had chatting with us. Thanks for those of you who are watching and didn't feel like chatting. Feel free to chat next time. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. And until next time, happy crafting from this side of the pond. Have a good day, Sala, and everybody else.